today we're going to journey thousands of years into the past, back to ancient Mesopotamia to meet the Babylonians. Now, this was a civilization whose brilliant ideas in law, in architecture, and in science left a mark so deep you can actually still see its influence all around us today. So let's dive in.
It seems like a crazy question, right? A chunk of rock from the ancient world and the complicated legal systems we have today. But honestly, the connection is way more direct than you might think. And it all starts with one of history's most ambitious kings.
All right, so our story kicks off about 4,000 years ago. This is during the first great peak of Babylonian power. And at the very heart of this empire was its legendary king, Hammurabi, a guy who was about to completely change the way we think about justice. So how did this massive empire just pop up in the middle of the desert? Well, it all started around 2000 BC when a nomadic group called the Amorites settled down in Mesopotamia. For centuries, the whole area was just this patchwork of little city-states that were always at war. And then this king, Hammurabi, comes along. He does something nobody had done before. He conquered all his rivals, including the Sumerians, and he forged all these little cities into one single, huge empire, with the incredible city of Babylon as its capital. Now, what's so revolutionary about all this is how Hammurabi decided to rule his new empire. I mean, imagine this. Before him, justice was basically a moving target. It was all based on word-of-mouth traditions that could be totally different from one town to the next. Hammurabi changed everything. He created the first complete set of written laws, carving them onto massive stone pillars for everyone to see. For the first time ever, the law was permanent, it was public. This was a radical, game-changing shift in how you organize a society. You've definitely heard this phrase before, right? It's the most famous part of Hammurabi's code, and it's known as the Law of Talion. The idea behind it was, well, pretty simple and honestly pretty brutal. The punishment should fit the crime. Literally, you cause someone to lose an eye, you lose an eye. Simple as that. But there was a massive catch. And this is where you see the massive inequality that was just built right into their society. That whole eye for an eye thing? Yeah, that really only applied if you and the person you hurt were on the same social level. If a free man hurt a slave, the punishment wasn't losing an eye. It was usually just paying a fine. The code makes it crystal clear. Justice totally depended on who you were. The whole system was designed to keep the people in power in power. So, after Hammurabi, his empire eventually went into decline. But that wasn't the end of Babylon's story, not by a long shot. Centuries later, it would rise from the ashes and reach an even more incredible golden age, all under a new, even more ambitious king. And that king's name was Nebuchadnezzar. He came to power in 612 BC, and he wasn't just a conqueror. The man was a visionary builder. He was the one who would transform Babylon into the most spectacular, legendary city of the ancient world, a true marvel of engineering and art. Just to give you a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about, get this, 15 meters. That's how tall the Ishtar Gate was, the main entrance to the city. Try to imagine that. You're walking up to a gate that's as tall as a modern 5-story building, and it wasn't just huge. It was covered in these brilliant blue glazed tiles with images of dragons and lions. It was an absolutely breathtaking statement of power and beauty. And then, of course, there was the legend, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. As the story goes, Nebuchadnezzar built this incredible thing for his wife because she missed the green hills where she grew up. It was an absolute engineering masterpiece. They built these massive stacked terraces like a man-made mountain, and then they figured out this complex system of wheels and buckets to lift water all day long from the Euphrates River, creating this lush green paradise that cascaded down right in the middle of a desert city. Okay, so we've got these incredible monuments and larger-than-life kings. But what was life actually like for the regular people living in the shadow of all this? Let's kind of peel back the layers and take a look at how their society was put together. Well, just like Hammurabi's code hinted at, Babylonian society was super rigid. It was strictly divided into 3 classes. You had the freemen at the top, the priests, the officials, the landowners. They were the elite with all the power. At the absolute bottom were the slaves, usually prisoners of war who had 0 rights. And then you had this pretty big group stuck in the middle, the semi-freemen, people like farmers and craftsmen who were personally free, but were often tied to the land they worked. But the Babylonians weren't just about laws and buildings. They were also incredibly deep thinkers. They were constantly looking to the heavens for answers. And they developed some really unique ways of understanding the world, and even the human body.
They were obsessed with astronomy. Absolutely obsessed. They built on what the Sumerians knew and mapped the stars with incredible precision. They got so good they could actually predict solar eclipses. But here's the thing. For them, this wasn't just science for science's sake. They believed that if they could predict how the stars moved, they could predict the future. And it was from that belief that they invented astrology and the zodiac that we still know today. Yep, that was
Their approach to medicine was just as fascinating. It was this mix of magic and science. So if you got sick, you could go see an Ashipu. Think of him as a magician. He treated your sickness like a spiritual problem that needed rituals and prayers to fix. Or you could go see an Asu, who was more like a pharmacist. He'd mix up potions and creams from herbs and other natural stuff. And the wild part is, both were seen as totally valid ways to get better.
But you know how these stories go. No empire lasts forever, and Babylon's golden age couldn't last either. Less than 100 years after Nebuchadnezzar built his City of Wonders, the massive Persian Empire swept in. In 539 BC, Babylon was conquered, and its time as a great independent power was over. And this, right here, is the most crucial point of all. Even though their walls crumbled and their empire got swallowed up by another one, their ideas turned out to be immortal. The concept of a written legal code for everyone, their super detailed star charts, their insane architectural ambition, these things didn't just vanish, they got passed on, and they became the foundation for countless civilizations that came later. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Thousands of years from now, when people look back at our time, what are they going to see? What are the foundational ideas that we're leaving behind? What parts of our world are going to echo through the ages? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.